Hi, this is Eric from longboxreview.com. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the last previews episode of 2018. And joining me this time to discuss previews is not George, but a guest I had on episode 119 over a year and a half ago. And I've been meaning to have him back on the show because we had such a great conversation last time. It is Sean. Sean, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. And if people remember Sean, or maybe if they don't remember Sean, like I said, I talked to him in episode 119. Sean's the one, and I'm looking at it in the video here again. Sean is the one with this great comic. What is it? Do you refer to it as the comic shed, or is that something that I threw in there in the back of my brain?
No, it's my comic shed.
Comic shed, and he has these shelves off to his right that I'm looking at, and that's where you have a bunch of your books, right?
Those are it's like a big mail sorter.
Yeah.
It's actually two of them stacked on top of each other. So I would say about 30 high.
Yeah.
So
and this is how you catalog things that you are going to read. Remind me, is that what stuff you're going to read, or that you have read, or how, what is the purpose of that?
Yeah, those are books that my to be read pile.
Oh, wow.
As well as I have other stacks of piles, but they just haven't been made. I need to rename some of the titles that are on there because I've gone over and changed a bunch of titles. But
and yeah, so I wanted to point that out again because I've never heard of anyone doing sorting that way for their comic books, and so I just think that's just a really cool idea.
It's kind of me binge reading.
Yeah.
Instead of just picking up the one on the top to be read stack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. I think that looks like it works very well. So yeah, if anyone wants to try that, make sure you credit Sean for that idea. All right. Well, like I said, Sean is here to go over previews with me, and shall we just get right to it?
Let's jump in there.
All right. So first up is So Sean, I wanted to make sure I might ask you as we go along here if there are things that from each of these publishers that you're reading and just kind of get a sense of what it is that you are liking these days, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nope.
So we'll try and keep that in mind as we go. But first up, we'll start with Image Comics. So what do you have first for Image Comics, Sean?
Well, right there, the gem of the month. They have Sharky the Bounty Hunter. I like Mark Miller and of course Simon Bianchi as a artist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this book looks interesting, and I really like Mark Miller's writing.
Yeah, see, he I mentioned this before, but he's kind of hot and cold with me, and so I'm always a little leery about buying his stuff because I don't know which version of Mark Miller I'm going to get. Is it the one I really really like, or is it the one where it's like, he's okay?
I like his miniseries. He can do pretty good miniseries, but if it's anything that's not ongoing, like the Jupiters.
Oh yeah.
Books. I was a little lost on those.
Oh, really? See, I thought those were the best of the ones I've read of his.
So I need to go back. I need to finish because I kind of got lost track of which ones went in what order. Which Jupiter's Children, I think. I don't know. But no, I have those in trade. So
yeah, and those would make that'd be a good read and trade if you had just had what I think there were 2, 3, or 4. I want to say 3 or 4, basically versions of that Jupiter's whatever that he did. And, that would be a good trade set to have. Really, they should maybe do an oversized collection, putting all that Jupiter stuff in there.
I would like that.
Yeah. But you're right, though, that the Simone Bianchi art is just gorgeous.
So,
yeah, and this is one of the. It says here, Netflix's latest live action project from Mark Miller. Read the comic before you see the movie. So this is an adaptation of something that's coming to Netflix, I guess.
I guess.
But it does say, so this is Sharky is the bounty hunter, as the title said. But what really got me, Sean, was in the solicitation here. It says he has a converted rocket-powered ice cream truck. I mean, come on, that's pretty interesting.
No, I love his art. You can't beat out an ice cream truck,
especially a rocket-powered one. Did you notice, Sean, that this is the only non-trade, non-collection that's in the Image previews?
I noticed there were a lot of trades this month.
Yeah, I mean, other than of course, the ongoing stuff, but there's no new #1 issues from Image, which that seems really weird to me.
Yeah, the only other one were Hit Girl type stuff, but yeah.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Hit Girl Season 2, that is a $3.99 book. I'm sorry. I thought that was a trade for some reason. So, well, yeah.
But no, you're right. There usually is quite a lot more to choose from.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I understand. So this is stuff that is, will start to be published in February and beyond. But so, this time of year is always kind of a slowdown period in terms of what the publishers put out. So I get it, but at the same time, it still seems weird to me that Image is slowing down in their new #1 releases. But,
yeah.
Maybe if I go back and look at December previews from 2017, maybe they do this all the time and I just haven't really paid attention to it. So, what else did you find in Image?
Well, I did look over Hit Girl Season 2, #1, just because I'm interested in Kevin Smith's writing, just to see his take on it. I liked his Green Arrow and Daredevil run, but I think I don't know how long I'm going to go with that. If I'm hoping it's just a miniseries.
Yeah, because it doesn't say, does it, that it's a miniseries? It just says new story arc #1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's probably like many of those series where they solicit it as a series, and then if sales aren't what they expect or are expecting, then suddenly it becomes a miniseries.
Yeah. So that was pretty much all like you said, that's all the #1s I had. A lot of the other ones I had were trade paperbacks that I need to catch up on.
Did you read Cold Spots?
I have Cold Spots, definitely. I picked up some of the singles, and I'm not sure if I missed any, but I just wanted to get the trade just in case. But
so this is something that I did not read, but it's by Cullen Bunn, written by Cullen Bunn, and I just like that idea of, I don't know, I like the title Cold Spots for some reason. And the trade cover is, if you'll pardon me, it's just a cool cover image.
Absolutely.
So I think that's by Mark Torres.
I like the reflection. So I did look back on Bully Wars with Scotty Young. That one looked funny. I liked his first. I have the first couple trades of I Hate Fairyland, and so I wanted to check out Bully Wars to see how that went.
And generally speaking, I Hate Fairyland. Is that something you would highly recommend for people to read?
It's a fun read.
Yeah.
It's you know what you're getting. It's just It reminds me of a lot of, Punisher takes out the Marvel Universe.
Ah, okay.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the nice thing that I like about Image and a lot of these independent publishers is that they will often keep their back catalog in stock or, available to order. And so if you are interested in I Hate Fairyland, you can get all 4 volumes in trade. I'm sure ordering this month if you haven't already. So, along with Bully Wars.
Let's see.
What about Maneaters from Chelsea Kane and Kate Nimchik?
I do have that on my list because I remember ordering the first 2, but I didn't. I think that was all that I ordered. I wanted to see how those went, and unfortunately, I haven't got to read them yet. They sounded interesting.
Yeah, I was in at the Rose City Comic Con this last September, and Chelsea Kane was there talking about, among other things, this book, and so I really wanted to check it out. So I've been waiting for the trade on this one, so I'll be getting this one for sure.
Yeah, that one, and on that same page, on the other page next to it, Leviathan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one looked really interesting too. When I remember reading the first issue of that, and thought I would wait for the trade to see how that would go. So that one will be interesting.
So do you often just get the first issue or so of a new title and then decide whether you want to keep going with it and then or get the trade or just drop it completely?
I do that a lot with Image because I know that the first trade will be pretty inexpensive. They are pretty good about their first trade being reasonable. So that's what I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Well, you mentioned I should have brought this up before when we were talking about Mark Millar, but there's a backlist spotlight featuring all the books by Mark Millar on page 54 and 55. So if you want to get, catch up on your Mark Millar reading, there you go.
Yeah,
and it even includes Jupiter's Legacy, which is one of the books that we were talking about. Yeah.
And I just read Reborn through, I checked that out with the library. If you get a chance, I highly recommend that.
Yeah?
It's really interesting.
Okay.
It's a different way of looking at death.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was something I remember being interested in, but again, I'm always a little gun shy with Mark Millar, so
I think all of these I've read at one point. Starlight and Jupiter's Legacy are the only 2 that I don't know if I have. But yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of his.
Mm-hmm. So you read Super Crooks?
Super Crooks was good.
Yeah.
It was kind of a Thief of Thieves, but with superpowers.
Yeah. I that was probably my favorite of all of his work so far.
Yeah. The one that was kind of I didn't expect it from him, but was Huck. Because it was kind of like, I don't know, imagine Superman, but not out there in the public, just helping just one city. Yeah, that was an interesting book.
Yeah, it was kind of a bit of a sweet tale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that one. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and of course Wanted. That one's one of my favorites. Just because of all the Easter eggs that you find in it. And J.G. Jones's art is pretty great.
I don't know that I've actually read that book. I've heard of it a lot, and of course I saw the movie that it's based on.
Yeah, the movie doesn't do it justice, that's for sure. But imagine if it was Eminem instead of I can't remember who the lead character was in the. Oh, I'm spacing on who the main character actor was in the movie.
Right. Yeah. Me too. But I know who you're referring to.
Yeah. So
wait. So you're saying if Eminem played that role instead of that actor?
Yeah. Well, originally that's who we wanted him to play.
The
actor. So he looks just like Eminem, and who is it? The Angelina Jolie character was supposed to be Halle Berry, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. It's different than the movie, that's for sure. I don't know if there's any bending of the bullets.
I know a lot of people gave that movie grief for that bending bullet thing, but I thought it was kind of cool.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's pretty neat. I really enjoyed it. That was one of my first big jumps into his work.
Mm. All right, what else do you have for Image?
Image. I have Thief of Thieves, Volume 7. I'm not quite sure about that because it's a different writer and artist on it. But I have all the other trades, and that was a series that I really enjoyed.
I read, I think it was a free issue. It might have been for Free Comic Book Day or something. I can't remember now, but I read something involving Thief of Thieves, and I thought it was really cool. And this is something that I wanted to get into. So I've been meaning to get the trade collections and actually read the books. I didn't realize that they were already up to 7 volumes of this thing. Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought at the end of Volume 6 they could have ended it because it was just at a good stopping point. So when Volume 7 they started to they had a new art and writer. I didn't know exactly where they were going with it. So
I see who the writer is, Brett Lewis on this volume, but who was it before that? That was Well,
it still has the Sean Martin Burrow. I'm not sure if he does all of the art in this or if it's just that Adriano Lucas, but I remember Sean Martin Burrow did the art, and it was Andy Diggle.
Okay,
and
yes.
Yeah. And even Robert Hickman, he helped create it.
You mean Kirkman?
Kirkman. Did I say Hickman? Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's who Kirkman. I was thinking it was Kirkman.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting because, I mean, usually with Image books, it's not like DC or Marvel where they trade off different artists and writers on a series usually, but they seem to be doing that with this one.
Yeah. So, who knows where we'll go with it?
But this is a book that you recommend?
I really enjoy them. They're a good, fun read. They're kind of like imagine like an Ocean's 11 type of heist. They do, and I like the fact that he involves his family in it. Unbeknown, he didn't want to involve his family, but they're some way involved in it.
And doesn't the main character, doesn't he have some sort of special ability or abilities?
No, he's just the world's greatest thief.
Oh, okay, so he's just he's like the Batman of thieves, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he can. He's playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers.
I think I'm confusing this with another title that is also, I think, by Andy Diggle that I really enjoyed, but I'm blanking on the name of it. So, oh well. All right. Anything else? I have one more thing to discuss about Image. So if you have anything else, go ahead.
The only other thing I wanted to keep going on with Die, the one with Karen Gillian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where they were playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons gone bad.
Yeah, I've been hearing a little bit about that book in terms of how good it is, and I'm a big fan of Kieran Gillen's writing. The Wicked and Divine is the major work that he's doing right now, but that series is winding up.
Yeah,
or I guess I should say winding down. So they're starting or have started their final arc on that, and so yeah, just a few months ago I started noticing that Gillen has some other irons in the fire, and Die is one of them. So
we'll see where that one goes. I'll at least get enough for the first trade, and I think after if it lives up to it, then I'll keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was it Hardcore? Was that the other one that you were thinking of, maybe? Because it's written by Andy Diggle.
I don't think so. Okay.
That one is another one that I have the first 2 issues of that, or I'm getting those. And that one looks interesting.
Oh, you had mentioned Adriano Lucas in one of the other books. I forget now which one you mentioned just a few minutes ago, but
Thief of Thieves.
Is that okay? Yeah, and he's on this one too.
Oh yeah. That's pretty much all that I have. Everything else I already get. I get the other one I'm going to get is a Prodigy, but it's another Mark Miller product. So.
And I just wanted to mention the end of the 3rd Mage volume, Mage the Hero Denied, number 15, by Matt Wagner. So series finale, it says, Mage is something that I have been a fan of ever since the original singles came out back in the early to mid 80s. And I have both trade collections of the first 2 volumes. And I haven't read the 2nd volume yet, and I decided, because I have both the series in these nice hardcover collections, and when Wagner finally announced that he was doing this 3rd volume, I decided, well, I'm just going to have to wait until they release the hardcover trade of the 3rd volume. And so now that they've solicited the final issue, I fully expect the hardcover to be solicited very soon after this. And I'll gladly buy that, and then I can sit down and read Mage Volumes 2 and 3.
Well, I have 1 and 2 as well, and I'm getting the singles of this one as well. Unfortunately, I didn't notice the price point on this one at $8.
Ooh, yeah, I hadn't noticed that either.
But it's 56 pages and a 8-page gate fold. Huh.
Wow.
But yeah.
8-page gate. Wow. That's an interesting. So if it's, I'm trying to imagine how they would bind this thing then. If it's 56 pages and a gatefold, it can't.
It would almost have to be almost like a mini trade paperback.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I'm wondering. Will it be a square bound issue, or will it just be an oversized stapled issue? I'm thinking a gatefold would be hard to do in a square bound binding. So then you get the staple thing, and I don't know. There's only so many pages you can effectively staple and fold like that. So I'll be really curious. So maybe when you get that, you can take a picture of it and show me.
I'll flip it all out, see what it looks like.
And then, are they gonna reproduce the gatefold in the trade? Because I will feel a little ripped off if I don't get that gatefold now.
That's true, especially if the hardcover, then maybe, but I'm not sure about the trade paperback.
Well, at the very least, I'm sure it will be a spectacular issue.
Oh, yes. I'm excited to see how it ends. I first got interested in Mage when there was a Mage action figure.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
It came with that. There was that one and Jay and Silent Bob.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I got all three. They needed a 3-pack, and I don't know how Mage got involved, but yeah, it's a really cool. I hadn't even read any issues of Mage at that time yet. I just thought it was really cool looking character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had a baseball bat for a weapon. So
yeah, that was that first volume of Mage was really something different than you had seen before.
Yeah,
on comic stands, especially like I said, it came out in the early to mid '80s. I've been trying to rack my brain as to what year that was. I'm thinking 1983 or '84, but then again, I often can't remember things properly. So,
well, it says. How long did it say it went? I thought it said in the 35 years in the making.
So that would be 85?
Yep.
No.
83.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Wow. Man, I feel old now.
You and me both, man. All right. Is that it for Image for us?
That's all I have.
Okay, so let's go to Dark Horses next. And I only have a few things here, so you go ahead.
I have 3 titles in this one.
Okay.
I have Fight Club 3. I got I got Fight Club 2, and that was a really interesting read. I thought they could have ended it how they finished it there. And then I heard on, I'm going to mangle his last name, Chuck Palahniuk, the writer of it. I heard him on a podcast talking about he was going to do a Fight Club 3. So this one was one I was looking forward to.
And so how does it, because that movie is such an iconic movie.
Yeah.
It's so different from anything else at the time. How does that concept and those characters translate into comic book form?
Well, they got the main 2 characters, not the Tyler Durden, but the unnamed Edward Norton's character.
Mm-hmm.
Edward Norton and Helena Bonham Carter, they got together and they're husband and wife, and they had a child together. And he had kind of put Tyler Durden back in the back of his mind and wasn't thinking about Tyler Durden, but he somehow started to come back into his life. So it was an interesting how he came back, and it wasn't quite as I definitely like the movie better, but this one they had it on a much bigger scale. Instead of doing things just in one city, they were thinking more globally. So
in terms of the Fight Club itself?
Yeah,
okay.
In thinking in the Fight Club as well as the mayhem that they wanted to cause.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, are you a fan of Hellboy at all?
Hellboy, I have read Hellboy, but unfortunately, I'm not sure where to jump on to because there's so many with BPRD, Hellboy, and then different years of Hellboy. But I really enjoy it.
Well, if you look, and the listeners, if they look on pages 82 and 83 of the previews catalog, they talk about Hellboy Day, and this has already been announced, but to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the world's greatest paranormal investigator and the upcoming new Hellboy motion picture, they've decided that March 23rd is Hellboy Day. And so they're going to partner up with local comic shops and other places, I'm sure, to promote Hellboy and tie into the movie and all that good stuff. Sean, if you wanted to start dipping your toes into Hellboy, they have the Hellboy Seed of Destruction 25th anniversary trade. Oh, this is not the trade. This is a one-shot, a 32-page one-shot. Which is the first issue of Hellboy. I actually have the Seed of Destruction trade that I got several years ago, but I haven't read it yet.
Oh, wow.
So I'll definitely have to pull that out and read it for Hellboy Day at the very least. And then on page 83, they list a bunch of collections, but they put them in alphabetical order. So you get the Abe Sapien stuff at the top of this list, and then BPRD, and then you get Hellboy. I don't know. Maybe they should have put it in publication order instead.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Maybe you'll just stick with the Omnibus Volume 1. Try that out. See. Yeah. That one has Seed of a Destruction. Wow. 4 different Omnibus listed.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's just the main title stuff. There's also short story collections, a whole bunch of other associated things. Yeah, there's...
Plus, they do like this Hellboy Day promo item. They have a Hellboy timeline.
Oh, there you go.
A double-sided poster. So that could help with things.
I was going to... I was going to talk to my friend Travis, who usually does the news episodes, the Breaking Late news episodes with me, but we were not able to find. Because he's very busy with work this time of year, so he wasn't able to record with me for the November news. And I was definitely going to talk to him about this Hellboy Day because he's a huge Hellboy fan, and so maybe I'll get a chance to do that next time we get together. But I can only imagine this is a big deal to him and to all the Hellboy fans out there. I really enjoyed. Did you see the 2 Hellboy movies that they have done already?
They're beautiful. Yeah, I really enjoyed them.
Yeah,
I think really underrated.
Yes, exactly. There are certain movies that I will watch. So if I happen to be channel surfing when I have time to kill, and I don't seem to have that much time anymore, but whatever. But when I'm channel surfing and I come across certain movies, I will stop and watch that movie, no matter where it's at in the movie. So I could have missed the first half of it, and I'll still sit down and watch it. The Hellboy movies are one of those movies for me.
I think Guillermo del Toro makes a beautiful monster. Even just that scene where they were in Hellboy 2, where they went to the marketplace and it's just covered in monsters. Yeah. I thought they're really underrated.
Yeah. Yeah. It's too bad that they couldn't have got together a third movie with that same director and cast. I'm blanking on the guy's name who plays Hellboy at the moment.
The new one?
No, the older movies.
Oh, Ron Perlman?
Ron Perlman, thank you. Yeah. I know he there for a while really tried to get a third movie going, but it for some reason didn't pan out. But now they have the guy from Stranger Things who plays the sheriff in that. I forget his name, playing Hellboy. So, I'm not such a snob that I'll not watch the new movie because it's not Ron Perlman doing the role, but I just think it's cool that Hellboy is coming back for a new run at things in the theaters.
I heard something about, because I think his name's David something, and he got Ron Perlman's blessing. So that was kind of cool.
There you go. Well, then the baton is passed. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. Anything else for Dark Horse?
I really enjoy Umbrella Academy. I don't know if you read any of the first Umbrella Academy. That one's odd read. Yeah. But it's really cool.
I think I read it a long time ago. So long ago that all I can remember about it is the fact that I read it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going through some of my old issues and I found the singles on those. And that was before when Gerard Way, before he became the head of whatever section of DC Vertigo.
Oh, his imprint, yeah.
So I'm really excited, and Gabriel Ba's art on it is I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think I enjoy the art more than I do the writing.
Yeah,
just because Gabriel Ba is just a phenomenal artist.
And I just saw that Netflix live action series premieres February 15th, 2019.
Oh, it's that soon. I didn't realize that.
So
I knew it was coming soon, but I didn't realize it was coming just a few months from now.
I have no idea how they're going to do that, but
yeah. I think Travis also made a similar comment to me about that as well. Well, I have, Sean, I want to point out one of the new Berger books. This is The Girl in the Bay. This is on page 98 of the catalog.
That was the last thing that I had.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Oh, no, please, go ahead.
Well, I just want to point out this is written by J.M. DeMatteis and art by Corin Howell. The premise is a 17-year-old is brutally attacked, her body hurled into Brooklyn's Sheepshead Bay. Miraculously, she survives and fights her way back to the surface, only to discover that 50 years have passed and an eerie doppelganger has lived out an entire life in her place. So then she has to confront that and figure out all this, why was someone trying to kill her? What happened to her? Why is 50 years passed? All that stuff. I mostly just am drawn to this, and it's a miniseries, it says. I'm mostly drawn to this because it's J.M. DeMatteis, who has written a lot of really good stories in years past, and he seems to be experiencing a resurgence here recently. So I think that's really cool.
Absolutely. So I'm not really familiar with the Berger books. Is that the editor? Yeah,
that's Karen Berger, formerly the esteemed editor from Vertigo at DC Comics, and so she came to Dark Horse to do her own imprint of curated books.
Oh, then if it has her name on it, it's got to be good.
Yeah, you would think so.
That's all I have for Dark Horse.
Okay, that's it for me too. Shall we move on to DC?
Let's go.
And Sean, I forget, are you a DC fan or a Marvel fan, or a mixture of both?
I'm definitely a DC fan.
Okay. So you and I are in the same camp, I think. All right, what's first up for DC for you?
Well, I have a lot of the same single issues that I normally get, but the first one is Heroes in Crisis tie-in with Batman and the Flash.
Okay. I was gonna bring that up too. So you want to give a brief overview of what this thing is.
The two greatest detectives of the DC universe take on one cold case that will tear them apart. So I'm really interested because I don't want to give away any spoilers, just because I don't know how Barry Allen is going to handle Batman,
Mm-hmm.
and because of how it's been set up.
Yeah. This is. Did you read? What was it? This is almost 2 years ago, I think. The Button, the crossover between Batman and Flash.
That was great.
Yeah, that was also 4 issues, right? I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're doing it again in both the Batman and the Flash titles. So Batman and the Flash 64 and 65. And as you said, it's the tie-in. So this is going to be interesting because I was going to ask you this, Sean. Are you reading Heroes in Crisis? I take it you are.
I am.
Okay.
That's usually number one on my pull list.
Yeah. And are you also reading Batman and the Flash monthly?
Batman, I am caught up on. The Flash, I am unfortunately far behind.
Yeah. But you're still getting the issues.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I don't read the Flash, but I do read Batman. And I'm also getting Heroes in Crisis as well. So this is my dilemma. I don't know if I'm going to get those issues of Batman because I don't want to buy 4 issues for a tie-in thing relating to Heroes in Crisis. That's where I'm at right now. So I don't know. You convince me otherwise. No pressure.
Well, it's easy for me just because. Yeah, I get all the singles, but depending on how much of a crossover it is, if it's just one of those where they just briefly mention it, that's kind of disappointing. But the fact that it is 4 issues, that seems to have a little bit more meat to the case, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about this? Because these are all 4 of these issues, Batman included, are being written by Joshua Williamson. Tom King has nothing to do with this, it's an interruption of his purported 100 issue or 100-ish issue run on Batman. So that's kind of where I was coming from. Is like, I want to read Tom King's Batman. I don't want to read other people's Batman. And so this was a potential timeout for me as far as Batman. So I'll get issue 63, and then I'll come back on with issue 66. But I have a hard time with that. And I'm sure you can relate, Sean, and other people out there can relate. Then I'm missing 2 issues.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's hard for me.
So, I think if you got 64 and 65 of Batman, you might be able to pick up enough of what is going on with. I don't think you need the Flash to help complete the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
It might just be from different perspectives.
Well, and maybe I can just have you fill me in once you get caught up on that.
I can definitely do that.
Oh, and did you notice? I just noticed this myself. The variant cover for the Flash number 65 is by Michael Golden. That's interesting.
Oh. Huh.
I mean, they don't show it here, unfortunately, but Michael Golden is one of those great artists, comic book artists to me. So I'm gonna have to go search out that cover image to see what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. In 64 of Batman with Sean Murphy. I like his art.
Oh yeah.
All of these are done by Chris Burnham on just the normal art.
Yeah, and I love Chris Burnham. He's been one of my favorite artists of the last, 10 years or so.
So we'll see. I'll let you know how how those are.
Okay.
It might be a while before I get to those. I may just skip ahead because I definitely want to know how Barry takes. I saw something on in the last issue how he took the news of Heroes in Crisis.
Right.
But I'm sure with Batman he might not have the same point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the more you're talking about it, I'm like, maybe I should get it just to see what happens.
So,
we'll see. It'll just depend on how much I am ordering from this previews, because I try to keep it below a certain dollar amount, and 2 more issues of the Flash, that might put me over the limit. So we'll see. Before those pages in the DC catalog, there's these. I want to point out these DC books for young readers, and I have talked about this before on the show about the DC Zoom and DC Ink books that DC is bringing to bookstores. And so DC Zoom, as it says here, targets ages 8 to 12, and DC Ink is for readers 13 and older. And so we get the first 2 books for each of these imprints. One is Mira Tidebreaker by Danielle Page and Stephen Byrne, and that is that's the DC Ink book. And then Super Sons, the Polar Shield Project, is by Ridley Pearson and Illa Gonzalez, and that's the DC Zoom book for this month, for this new adventure that DC's undergoing. So I'll have to check with my my granddaughter Madison to see if she's interested in either one of these.
Oh, those might be a good read, especially something. Hopefully, in the library they will cover something like that.
Exactly. That's I mean, really, what they're going for is the Raina Telgemeier audience, right? The author of Smile and other books.
Oh yeah.
So they're through the superhero vein, but I just think it's cool that they're launching. I mean, yeah, it makes sense with Super Sons. They had the whole Batman Superman angle, but Mira is the first of the DC Ink books, and I just think that's cool. Mira has long been one of my favorite kind of background characters, whom I think needs to be more upfront. In fact, I find her more interesting than. This is going to be sacrilegious to say this, considering that the Aquaman movie is almost out at the time of this recording. I think she's more interesting than Aquaman.
No, I totally agree.
So I want to read this one.
Yeah, Aquaman at times seems just angry, and you're not sure where he's going with it. Where Mira seems to have more of a straight head on her shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's unfortunate. That whole Aquaman or I should say, angry Aquaman. I really don't care for that portrayal of that character, and they seem to go back to it over and over again. I just kind of wish they would not do that anymore.
So
we've seen angry Aquaman. Move on.
Yes.
Or just I know they have or did have is that Mira book still out? They had that the ongoing series for Mira. I don't think it's in here anymore, is it?
Yeah, I think it finished up because I think I remember getting.
Yep,
because I was getting one of the DCS bundles, and that was part of it.
Okay. Yeah, so now that that's done, I guess if you are a huge Mira fan, there's this book. And then following the Batman Flash team up or crossover or whatever that is, there's a new book by Cecil Castellucci, who wrote. I gotta check my notes here because I'm blanking out. Oh, Shade the Changing Girl, which was one of my favorite was my favorite of the Gerard Way Young Animal books. And so now Cecil is writing The Female Furies with art by Adriana Mello, with a great Mitch Gerrits cover. But
I was just interested because I just finished up with Mr. Miracle, and that was excellent.
Yes. So that was going to be my question was, so is this is a miniseries, is this tied into the Tom King, Mitch Gerrits, Mr. Miracle series, or is it going to be outside of that? Where is this in the continuity in the timeline? Because it seems like Big Barda, because she was a female Fury.
Yeah.
It seems like she's fully entrenched with them. It's not like she's going back to them or anything. But it could be just be the way the solicitation text is written too.
Yeah. It looks, especially with Granny Goodness still being around.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to imagine it's prior to the miniseries.
Well, either way, this is something that I'll definitely be looking at in terms of a trade collection, because of the writer. I'm a huge fan of the writers now, based on that Shade the Changing Girl series.
Let's see.
Sean, are you a big Brian Michael Bendis fan at all?
I am.
So we have his imprint. Seems like everybody's doing imprints nowadays. His Wonder Comics imprint. Have you been anticipating any of those books?
Which?
So on page 9, there's the Wonder Twins book.
Oh, yes.
So this is written by Mark Russell and Stephen Byrne again. There's that name. Yeah. Were you a fan of Zan and Jaina?
I think I was to a certain point. I understood I understood their role, but I'm curious about this. This one is on my list of books. I like Mark Russell. He's a good artist or good writer.
Yes. Yeah, this is a miniseries, a 6-issue miniseries written by a writer whose work I really like. So the reason I ask about whether you were a fan of Zan and Jaina's, I never was. In the old Super Friends cartoon, they really annoyed me. So to see them back as characters in the DC universe like this, if it wasn't for Mark Russell's involvement, I think I would just totally ignore this completely.
I mean, I could agree with that, because I never really understood their place. Water.
Mm.
You can only do so much.
Yeah. Jaina definitely had the better ability than than Zen. And of course, there's what was the monkey's name?
Is it Gleek?
Gleek, yeah.
Yes.
They don't mention Gleek in the solicitation, but you can see on the cover image there's a monkey in the locker behind them. So
I'm a fan for any books that have monkeys in them. So the other book that I wanted to talk about was the High Level.
Mm-hmm.
That looked really interesting.
Are you familiar with this? So it says here, from the co-creator of Nine Inch Nails' groundbreaking Year Zero alternative reality game, which that's a bit of a mouthful.
When I read that I had not heard that, but it's something I want to look into now, because I have that CD, Year Zero, and that's very underrated CD.
Yeah.
But no, it just sounded like a really strange but interesting subject. And then when I saw who the writer that writer and the co-creator of the Nine Inch Nails. So I'll have to give that. I'll at least try that out.
Yeah, it says here that hundreds of years after the world ended and human society was rebuilt from scratch, a self-interested smuggler is forced to traverse a new continent of danger and mystery to deliver a child messiah to High Level, a mythical city at the top of the world from which no one has ever returned. It definitely sounds interesting.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of a little bit of Commandy.
I can see that.
Mixed in with Nanda Parbat. You know, just a little bit, not completely, but I don't know. I get a bunch of DC futuristic, dystopian future type stuff and kind of mix them all together in my brain when I read that. But
I'm curious how they portray humans in the future. If they're, the deformed type, or if they're just normal. Something that I'm going to look into.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then I don't really have anything to point out until page 48. So if you have anything between where we're at that now and that page, go right ahead.
Well, what about The Batman Who Laughs? Is that a book that you have any interest in?
No, that character out of what was that event?
Metal?
The Metal. That character was the one that annoyed me the most. I totally understand the appeal of a Batman Joker or Joker Batman, however you want to put it. But I would have been completely happy had that character gone away or went away when at the end of that event book.
That one was one that interested me.
Yeah.
But I could see where if they would have just stopped with that, I would have been okay with. But I was reading a little bit more in the DC Nation magazine that came along with it, and it talks about the last two DC Nations. They had like a top 10 of DC's biggest, I don't know about villains or biggest challenges. And The Batman Who Laughs was number 1 on that list.
Really?
So that was something that even over Darkseid, over Zor-El, or who's the Superman villain?
Zod?
That was not Zod, but the one who was just introduced in like 1000, 1001. The one who's supposedly destroyed Krypton.
Oh, Rogol Zaar.
Yeah. Yeah, they list this Batman Who Laughs pretty high up there.
Huh.
But they were talking about one thing that interested me was the reason why he has those spikes over his eyes, and it actually does get addressed in some of these further issues. So I don't know. Plus I really like the art of Jock, and Scott Snyder's a pretty good writer. So,
well, those two have a good history together in producing some interesting stories. So
absolutely. So
that would definitely be something to look at if you were a fan of their work.
So, and you said you had something on 48?
Yeah, but before we get to that, are you reading the new Green Lantern book at all?
I have
Grant Morrison?
It's kind of a hard to read.
Oh yeah?
Because it's to me it's too different. I mean, I'm used to it, where he's, I don't know, he's more confident in himself. I don't. maybe I need to sit and read it, the whole thing, because I was trying to read it in pieces.
Oh, I don't think you can do that with Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
You really have to sit and focus with him. At least I do anyway. And what about Hawkman? Are you reading that at all?
I'm not, actually.
Ah.
I don't know. Hawkman has been one that... The only the one Hawkman I really liked was the JSA Hawkman when Jeff Johns recreated him.
Well, I'll tell you because this is one of my favorite superhero books in the last several months. You would recognize that character that you like in this new series.
Huh. Maybe I'll have to give it a try.
I would, if you are so inclined, I'd recommend picking up at least the first trade and seeing what you think about that.
I mean, it's a guy it has a great writer in Robert Venditti and Ryan Hitch. His work, you can't go wrong there either.
Yeah. I've been loving it. So. And I'll mention this. Sideways number 13 is the final issue of that series. It's being drawn this time by Kenneth Rocafort, who started the series with Dan DiDio as writer. This was one of those, because I did that spotlight on the New Age of Heroes books. Yeah. And so this is one of the ones that I kept with. I actually was going to drop it at issue 12. And then I saw that issue 13 is the last issue, so I thought, oh, what the heck, I'll get it. It's only $2.99. It's one of the few remaining books put out by DC that is less than $3.99. So I think I can afford that.
But the other New Age of Heroes, they're going to keep with. Yeah,
it's interesting because they have in here, what is it? Damage is still going on, and the Silencer is still going on. And what's the other one I'm thinking of? Brimstone.
Yeah. The Curse of Brimstone.
Yeah, the Curse of Brimstone. So yeah, those are all still going on. Of course, the Terrifics, that's the other New Age of Heroes books that I kept with.
That one I do like.
So I'll admit I was wrong about some of these books. I did not think that they would last as long as they have, but that's why I'm just a fan of stuff. I'm not a critic. I don't. I could be critical, but I'm not a professional critic. So, take my recommendations with a grain of salt.
All right.
Are you reading any of the Bendis Superman books?
Unfortunately, I'm not. I will. I am going to order the trades.
Well, once you do that, you have to let me know what you think of Bendis's take on the Man of Steel.
Okay. Because I'm not quite sure what they're doing with John Kent.
Yeah, neither am I. That's one of the things one of the plot threads that hasn't been really addressed until I assume this issue. Things have been working towards this to some degree in the latest issues that I've read, but it obviously looks like something interesting is going to happen here with the Kent's son. Which also, I don't know how much you paid attention to the Wonder Comics announcements from Bendis and DC, because they brought back Young Justice, and George and I talked about that first issue solicitation last time on the last previews episode, and that includes the Connor Kent Superboy. So
yeah,
how does that work given that we have Jonathan Kent as Superboy right now?
Exactly.
So I'm very curious about this.
Yeah, the Peter David Young Justice run was great. So I'm really I have this on my list as well. Young Justice number 2. Amethyst and I'm not quite sure who that Green Lantern, she is.
That's Teen Lantern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not order issue number 1, and now I kind of wish I had, because you get these, you get like you said, Amethyst is here. This Teen Lantern character, I'm very intrigued by these some of these characters here.
Yeah. The last time I was interested in a good teen book was, I think it was when Jeff Johns was writing Teen Titans.
Oh, wow. It's been a while then.
So.
All right. I'm jumping ahead to collected editions on page 68. If you have anything before that.
I was the Batman and Deathstroke card. Well, I was going to get this, and then I saw it was just the hardcover. So I was going to wait until it's trade paperback. But that one is one that I really wanted to get.
Yeah, I heard that was a good story, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So, yeah, I could totally see why they would do a hardcover, though, given that it's Batman and Deathstroke.
So.
And then just a few pages later, I just want to point out the Detective Comics 80 Years of Batman Deluxe Edition hardcover. And so this collects a bunch of things, because it's 80 years of Detective Comics. They had, a couple months ago, I think, they had solicited the Detective Comics before Batman, which I thought was really cool, that they're reprinting this old material, to showcase the history of that title pre-Batman. But then here in the last several weeks, I think I saw that they had canceled it. So apparently not enough people pre-ordered it.
Oh.
Which is unfortunate. I mean, I have no interest in that, mostly because, it's I think it was an expensive one, if I remember correctly. This, however, this 80 Years of Batman, it's only $30. So
yeah,
maybe they should have done something like that for that other book. But what's really interesting about this, not only is it going to collect a bunch of different things, it also has, this is really interesting, Sean, published for the first time anywhere, a new tale of a traumatic early moment in Bruce Wayne's life, written by Paul Levitz, with art by Dennis Cohen and Bill Sienkiewicz.
Huh.
Yeah.
I was going to get this anyway, but...
Oh, well, there you go. Interesting that they're deciding to do something new like that would pique, I think, longtime fans of Batman like that, considering who, the creators that they got involved here, so that to help sell it, I guess. I don't know. It's really weird that it's not just, reprinted material. I wonder if we're going to get more collections like this with new material thrown in to help seal the deal, I guess. And then a couple of pages later, Grayson, the Super Spy Omnibus. So this is 100 pages. It's almost 800 pages, but it's $100. But it is collecting all of the Grayson stuff.
That was I really enjoyed that storyline.
Oh, yeah. I have all these issues. I think I have all of them. Every one of these things. I'm pretty sure I do. But man, this is going to be hard to pass up.
If it wasn't $100,
yeah. If it were
if
$50,
it was yeah,
I'd definitely get this.
I can't believe that it's maybe just wait until the trade paper for that.
And then on page 74, a lot of anniversary stuff coming out. Did you ever read Promethea?
I did. I remember that now.
So this is the 20th anniversary deluxe edition, book 1. So this is written by Alan Moore. Interesting. It actually says written by Alan Moore and not by the writer, because that's I think that's how they referred to him in all the Watchmen collection or trade solicitations. Maybe they've reached an agreement now where he's not so angry at DC Comics. But anyway, written by Alan Moore, art by J.H. Williams III, Mick Gray, Charles Vess, and Jose Villarrubia. This was a really... I think I've only read one volume of this, and I was just blown away by it. I mean, this is sort of Alan Moore's take on Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But it's definitely looking at a lot of different aspects of Wonder Woman's history through a different lens. And it was very, very well done. And boy, you get I think, early J.H. Williams III art in this.
That's what I was going to say. That was my first touching. That was my first time seeing his art.
Yeah, mine too.
And I thought that was amazing.
Yeah. And I've always wanted to go back and get the other collections of Promethea just to see where they ended up with that series. And so I guess now I can. This is $50 too, so we'll see. It all depends on the pocketbook, I guess. But
yeah, that one and if Tom Strong, those are my two that I remember. Alan Moore writing at that time.
Yeah, I think I only read one volume of Tom Strong as well. What was the other book? The Top 10, I think, is what it was called.
Yes, that's right. That's what it was.
Yeah, that was another great series.
Where it was like a detective type.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think it was a police.
Police.
A group of policemen. They were all. I think there was a dog in there. Was a policeman. I don't know. It was very different. A very different take on the police procedural story.
Yes. That's what it was. I couldn't remember the third one. I think that's pretty much all I have for DC.
Yeah, me too. So next up in the list is IDW, but Sean, I don't have anything at all to say about IDW's offerings. What about you?
The only thing I had was one that looked interesting. Was Amber Blake.
Oh, yeah, I did notice that one. Go ahead.
Yeah. It says Amber Blake was an only child when she was recruited to the Cleveland Institute, a school for gifted children. But predators hide in the school's administration, abusing the children they're meant to protect, and on the verge of exposing them. Amber finds herself fleeing for her life from the very man who recruited her. But she's not dead yet, and she's not the only one who wants to see Cleveland leaders burn. That one looked really interesting.
What page is that on, Sean?
149.
Right. I actually I did have this on the list at one point and then decided to take it off for some reason, but I think mostly it was because the artist is Butch Guice. And I'm a fan of Butch's work. But I got down to the part where it says written by supermodel and actress Jade Lagardier. I don't know how to.
Where it was kind of iffy.
I don't know who that is.
I'm not quite sure either, but I don't know of a lot of supermodel actresses that are good, and I guess I'm stereotyping, but yeah.
Well, what it seems to me, this is the cynic in me coming out, but it seems like this is something that this actress is trying to get off the ground, and do in terms of a movie or series or whatever, and we've heard about these things before where people in the entertainment industry get these comic books published, get some interest in them, and then suddenly they have a development deal to produce the comic book as a movie or TV series or whatever. And so this is what this sounds like to me. But it shouldn't matter that if that's the origin of this comic book, it doesn't matter as long as it's a good comic book. And it's as you read the solicitation text, it does sound like an interesting story.
Yeah. But that's all I had for IDW.
Okay. So Marvel is up next. And interestingly enough, at least on the list, I don't know if I'll mention all of them, but the Marvel list outnumbered my DC list, which is very unusual.
There are quite a few Marvel books in here, but my biggest problem is I'm not sure where to jump on to some of these books, but I think they've stopped caring in a lot of times that it doesn't really matter. You can jump on, let's say, Avengers, No Road Home, #1. I mean, that could be anywhere to jump onto.
Well, and so since you're starting there, that is, are you reading the new Avengers book by Jason Aaron?
I'm not, but it has Jason Aaron, and so, but I'm going to get that in trade.
So they did right before Jason Aaron's run started. They did this Avengers No Surrender weekly event that was 10 or 12 issues, I think it was, which was okay in my opinion. I didn't need a year's worth of comics in just a few months. But so this is a sequel to that, No Road Home, and it does say No Road Home #1 of 10. And then down at the bottom, it says Legacy number 708. And then later in this Marvel previews, they do list the Avengers, the main Avengers book. And now I'm confused, because the previous weekly thing, No Surrender, was part of the main book. It was just a weekly. They put the book on a weekly schedule for a while. And they don't seem to be doing that here. This is a separate thing, but then, like I said, that legacy number thing that they have down at the bottom of that page, on page 12 of the Marvel Previews book, I'm all confused as to what this is. And I think that's part of maybe in some way related to what you were saying earlier about not knowing what's going on with Marvel books and where you jump in and all that stuff. So this is going to be really hard because this is written by Al Ewing, Jim Zub, and Mark Waid. So Al Ewing and Mark Waid they're fantastic writers.
Mark Waid, absolutely.
They tell great stories. So, boy, I don't know. I guess this will come down to will I have enough money to spend on something like this? So I'll probably end up waiting for the trade on it, but.
That's the second Mark Waid reference I've had this week. I don't know if this is kind of off on a different subject, but if you watch the crossover of the Flash, the Arrow, and Supergirl.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't seen it yet, but I plan to. What about that?
There was a quick reference where one of the cops was calling in a crime, and he said it's on the corner of Wade and Augusta. And I love it when they do little Easter eggs like that. Yeah.
Wow, Wade's made it to big time now. He's a place name in the DC universe. Years ago, Sean, when I was in grad school, I did my thesis. I wrote a bunch of short stories, but I wrote a bunch of superhero short stories. So kind of like literary superhero fiction. And that was one of the things I peppered in throughout all of my stories. I took creators' names that I liked and I threw them in as place names in my stories as well. So it was a lot of fun to do. I can't remember now which ones I did, but Mark Waid was not one of them for sure. I do remember that.
Nothing wrong with that.
What about the Marvel's annotated that they have at the beginning of the book? Was the Alex Ross, Kurt Busiek Marvels? Is that something that you've read?
I have the trade of that, and I really enjoyed it. Alex Ross, I could look at his art all the time. But the fact that it's in 4 parts, if it was collected again, then I'd be a little bit better than that.
Yeah. Well, this is interesting because, like I said, it's called Marvel's Annotated. So, and this is to celebrate the 25th anniversary of that series. And like you, I have the trade. I missed out on the single issues of that previously. So, I mean, they're reprinting it. So this is a reprint with it says packed with extras and completely remastered. So when I see the word annotated, I expect, basically lots of footnotes explaining the stuff that's in there. The way that they're describing this does not seem like an annotated version of this story. It seems like here's the story, and then you get a bunch of things at the back of the book, I presume. I don't know. It's a weird description to me to sell something like this, and it's $8.
Exactly.
For a reprint with extras. I don't know, man. I like Alex Ross and Kurt Busiek, but boy.
No, I really like was it Justice? Was that the name of the DC one?
Yes.
Yeah. If they had something like that, and I'm not saying that because I'm DC biased, but I just remember some of the little Easter eggs going on in that. Now, if they have something going on in the same route here, where you can see this character is created because is as an example, like I remember in Justice, there was a scene where they had a gang of kids running off. They were just nobody characters, but it was Fat Albert kids.
Oh, right.
And so if they have stuff like that where you can see little Easter eggs, then I might be a little bit more interested. But from what you said, where it's just going to be annotated in the back of the book, I'm not sure if I can stomach the $8.
Or at the very least, this is something you would wait for the inevitable trade for.
Yeah.
If you're a Marvel's completist. Then there's they're really going Gonzo and Conan. There's a new Savage there, or a new Conan book called The Savage Sword of Conan. You get the first 2 issues of that, and that is along with Conan the Barbarian, which is issue 3 in here. So I don't know. I've never been a big Conan fan, but apparently, the character has a resurgence here at Marvel.
Yeah, I've never been a big Conan fan, but I mean, with Jason Aaron as the writer, it does have me intrigued.
Yeah, same. But Conan's a barbarian too far for me to be interested in Jason Aaron writing him. So
the only other, let me see, the next thing I had was Daredevil.
Okay, yeah.
I'm really interested in that with Chip Zdarsky.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to think. So I don't know if I've mentioned this or Sean. Daredevil is one of my favorite Marvel characters.
Oh,
he is my Nightwing in the Marvel universe in terms of how much I like that character. But I don't know that I've actually read anything written by Chip Zdarsky. I've read stuff where he's the artist, but not.
I read Sex Criminals
mm-hmm.
To a certain point, and and it's definitely an interesting read.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got humor, but he makes the characters personable. You can understand what they're going through, and so I think if he can do something like that with Daredevil, especially with Daredevil's gallery, then it definitely would be something to pick up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look for some like preview pages or something just to see what this is going to be like. But yeah, I've been out of Daredevil for a while now. I read the first storyline written by Charles Soule, and he's a great writer, but I just wasn't. Yeah. Just wasn't interested in that take of Daredevil at that time. And so now that they're restarting him with Zdarsky writing, now I'm intrigued. I'm interested, but I don't know. Well, I need to know more before I pull the trigger on that one.
Trying to think.
What do you think of these facsimile editions that Marvel's been putting out the last couple previews?
The like Dazzler #1?
Yeah. Where they recreate the comic at the time that it was published, ads and all. And you pay $3.99 for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember having that issue as it was. So I don't know if I want to live through that one again.
I can't remember which one it was. I almost got one of the facsimile edition issues from last month's previews, but because I was at my limit, I had to make some cuts, and that was one of them. And then Marvel continues its 80-year publication celebration, where they are giving us these one-shots with titles. I presume, again, that these are titles that were once in Marvel's publishing line, and they're revisiting those with Ziggy Pig, Silly Seal Comics, which, boy, I say that 5 times fast, Gunhawks, and Love Romances.
Yikes.
Well, I'm kind of interested in the Love Romances one just because this will come out, I presume, around February. So, Valentine's Day. So it's a romance comic for Valentine's Day.
And I see Gail Simone is one of the writers on there. So that would be interesting.
So we'll see. Yeah, $3.99 for a one shot, but this is new material, unlike the Marvel stuff. So
the facsimile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. Yes, I was referring to the Marvel's annotated, but yeah, the facsimile is what I meant. Yes, thank you.
Do you read any of the Old Man books?
No. No, but yeah, go ahead. Talk about Old Man Quill.
Well, there's this Old Man Quill, but there was also that Old Man Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if you'd read that one. And this Old Man Quill is interesting. It interests me, but I don't know if I'll be eating it.
Well, what's interesting to me is that Marvel is making a franchise out of this Old Man thing.
Yeah.
Wolverine, Hawkeye, and now Quill. I almost said Quinn. Who's next? Who gets the old man treatment next is the question.
Yeah. Because, I like Peter Quill, but I don't know how far you can go with him.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this is a 12-issue series.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I could maybe see doing like 6 issues of something like this, but 12? So they must really believe in this story.
Huh.
Plus,
they can do it.
Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of big still, so...
If they ever decide to make a Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
So,
and then we have a bunch of Age of X-Man miniseries. X-Men is it's not something I have read a whole lot of in my youth, and I certainly don't read them now, so I can't really say anything about that. But they're really pushing a lot of X-Men material starting this month.
Yeah. I've unfortunately stopped reading right when it was at the height of when every other book was X-Men this, X-Men that.
Mm-hmm.
It was too hard to stay on top of things.
I kind of think it still is, just based on the number of things going on in the X-Men corner of the Marvel Universe. But that's, mostly because of my inattentiveness. I'm sure if I were into it, it'd be very simple and easy to explain to someone.
Yeah.
Sean, what do you think about these, the True Believers books that Marvel's been putting out? These $1... See, here we go. This is where they get it right. $1 reprints instead of $3.99 facsimile reprints.
Now, where are you?
This is starting on page 41.
Okay.
There's a few pages of these. Now, most of these, and the other thing I like about it is what they've been doing is they choose a character or a theme. Like last month, I think it was villains.
Yeah.
And this month it's Captain Marvel. And so they publish a bunch of reprints for $1 under the True Believers banner, and you get to read these older comics, many of which I've never read. So I think this is a great idea if you're trying to get people interested in your backlog.
Especially with the new Captain Marvel movie coming out.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because right. Because this is stuff that starts coming out in February, and then the following month, right? Because it comes out in March. Yeah. The new movie, yeah. So, yeah, this is, I think, a great marketing tie-in to something like that.
Because unfortunately, I don't know very much about Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel or... Yeah. So that... I think I can go with $1. That wouldn't hurt me too bad. Back on page 38, since it's only a 3-part miniseries, what did you think of that Hulkerines?
Hulkverines?
Yeah.
Boy, what a convoluted title. I mean, come on. Actually, I mean, other than the fact that there appears to be a Hulk-like character who has adamantium claws, I don't know that much about this.
Yeah, I did get the first issue of that, and that was... They didn't explain too much about it, but I like Greg Pak's writing, and I want to see how the weapon H goes up against the originals.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's classic Marvel characters fighting each other, right? This is in the DNA of the Marvel universe, where you get characters like this just fighting each other.
Knockout, drag out, fight. Which, yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, boy. If I guess I'm kind of surprised that it's not that this Hulkverine character is not like a bigger deal in the Marvel universe, because you get a Hulk with adamantium. I mean,
yeah.
that they over the years the Marvel universe has looked at the Hulk as this character that they shipped him off to another planet at one point, right, in the history of of the universe. So this is even much worse than that. And yet it's a 3-issue miniseries and whatever else that where they introduce this character. So I'm just surprised that they're not making a bigger deal out of that situation. But they have a bunch of other stuff going on, I guess. So maybe some things kind of fall through the cracks.
Plus, Wolverine is back in action.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised he's not in every book right now. You got the War of the Realms coming. I'm really looking forward to that big event coming up here. Got some Avengers tie-ins to that. Thor as well. Are you reading the latest version of Thor?
I did. I read up to the last trade of Thor, of where I'll just say the girl Hulk or the girl Thor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give away who it is, and in case people didn't know, I saw her death, quote unquote death.
Okay.
And that was the last trade I read.
Okay.
And it couldn't have been. I plowed through that. I think I finished that trade paperback in a day or two.
Mm-hmm. So you're not caught up on what they're publishing now. As
I'm
far
not.
As Thor. Okay. Well, it's really just a continuation of that story that you're referring to.
Okay.
So yeah, Jason Aaron's run on Thor that began, with the God, was it the God Bomb story or
Killer?
Yeah. Whatever that was. So I don't know how many years ago that has been now, but it's just been one long, fantastic, epic tale. So I'm really looking forward to this, the War of the Realms with Aaron and Russell Dodderman. So that starts in April. They have one page here letting us know that it's coming. So yeah, basically the team that worked on the Lady Thor storyline back for this War of the Realms event. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
I'm not sure if I'll get the singles or just wait for the trade again, but I was never a big Thor fan, but I think it was through your listening to you and going on about it that I decided to pick it up from my local library. And you're absolutely right. I think it's riveting.
Yeah, same with me. I was never a big Thor fan, and until I just happened to pick up one of those first issues that they were doing at the time, and then I was hooked and had to go find the back issues and get everything. So yeah, it's been a wonderful read over the last several years. See here. I have. I want to note Ms. Marvel. This is the book written by G. Willow Wilson. Number 38 is celebrating its fifth year anniversary, which is interesting because just in the last few days, I read that G. Willow Wilson will be exiting the book sometime in the near future. So her time on Ms. Marvel is coming to an end. Have you read any of Ms. Marvel? This is on page 75 that I'm looking at.
I have not.
Yeah, I have the first trade. I've had it for a while now, but I haven't read it yet. But I did read Champions, where that character was heavily featured, and some other things where she's appeared, and I really like that character. But I really want to. I think I need to go. I need to go read that trade for sure, and then see if I want to continue on with that, with all those trades. But I've heard from a lot of people that it's really, really good.
That's what it was. I knew I had heard that name, but yeah, she's jumping from Miss Marvel to Wonder Woman.
Yes.
So.
And that's the reason why I jumped back onto Wonder Woman recently, is because she was coming to write that character. So I have to say I'm not all that enamored with the Wonder Woman story so far.
Oh.
I don't know if that's an indication of the writing or the art or some, I don't know what yet. I haven't decided yet why I'm not enthralled with this latest Wonder Woman story?
I've unfortunately been off of Wonder Woman for too long.
Have a couple more things to mention in Marvel. What about you?
The only other thing I had was the Fantastic Four trade, but that was all I had.
Okay. Is that the collecting the first of the new series?
Correct.
Yeah. I've been reading that in singles.
And is it worth getting?
I think it's worth getting the trade, for sure.
Okay.
I've been a little. It's come across as a little. I don't know. I expected it to be a little more fantastic, if you will, than it is. But I also recognize that it's a very well written comic, or a very well produced comic. So I'm just waiting for it to kind of hit its stride to show me what it is besides bringing the family back together. You know, what is the status quo of these characters now that everyone's returned? And so I want to see that and then decide, what is this going to be to me? But I've enjoyed it. I certainly have enjoyed reading more Fantastic Four.
But that's all I had.
And I'll mention just one more thing here. On page 140, it is The Unstoppable Wasp Girl Power trade paperback. And so it says on sale in April, but this is collecting all 8 issues of the original Unstoppable Wasp series. I have been waiting for this book to be collected for a while now. I mean, they've already done 2 trades for it, collecting the 2 different sets of issues, but now they have it all in one. And this is something that I plan to get so that I can have my 13-year-old read this, because it was such a good series, written by Jeremy Whitley, with art mostly by Elsa Chartier, Veronica Fish, and some others. Did you read this book at all, Sean?
I did not.
Oh, this is definitely on my highly recommend list, because it was just so much fun.
I will have to add that then.
And I think that's it for Marvel. So next up is Dynamite in the book, and I only have a couple things, Sean. So where do you want to start here?
I have 2 things, and one is Army of Darkness versus / Bubba Hotep, number 1.
Okay, what page is that on?
Both 170.
Okay.
I love the character of Ash from Army of Darkness, and Bubba Hotep also being the same actor. So if you've ever seen that cheesy movie, it's something to. Have you ever seen Bubba Hotep?
I have not, but I have heard the name. I am familiar with the name, but I have no idea what that all means.
So Bubba Hotep is it's a guy who believes he is Elvis, and he worked for the CIA, and he was living in a retirement home when a mummy was starting to haunt this retirement home. I believe that's how it went.
So this is a movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm kicking myself on the name of the actor, but yeah, he plays both Ash from Army of Darkness and Bubba Hotep, and it's just a clash of both worlds.
Are you referring to Bruce Campbell?
Bruce Campbell, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so he did this movie Bubba Hotep,
Yep.
Which is just it's a delightful name to say.
Absolutely.
I've seen the first Army of Darkness. I've not seen this Bubba Hotep thing. So I apparently need to go watch some Bruce Campbell movies.
Yeah, if you have a couple hours to kill and never get back that time, then definitely don't expect much. But I mean, it's they have another character in there who believes he is JFK, who is actually just a like an 80-year-old black man. So that's all from Bubba Hotep, and they're all haunted by this mummy. And in this Army of Darkness Bubba Hotep crossover, they are fighting. I don't know if it's the same mummy or what, but that looked. You can't go wrong with Army of Darkness.
Seems like they should. I mean, this should be a movie. This should be a Bruce Campbell starring movie.
I would definitely see that.
Him doing double duty as these characters. I would watch that. Before that, the first book in the Dynamite section that I wanted to point out, this is Red Sonja #1. They're doing another Red Sonja series, right? So it's like, oh, really? Do we need another one? But the reason I want to point this out is because it's written by Mark Russell.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, that immediately makes me curious, but probably not enough to buy another Red Sonja series.
Yeah, because I'm not sure how long they usually go.
It seems like they do a new series with a new creative team like once a year or once every 2 years or something. I mean, yeah. I don't know why I'm complaining, because they do that with DC Marvel books all the time, but... And then I have one more thing here in Dynamite. What about you?
I'm the same way.
Okay.
I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to... Oh, Peter Cannon Thunderbolt.
Oh, yeah. I almost bought that. Bought the first issue. Because that's written by Kieran Gillen. Yeah.
Yeah, he sounds like he realizes that he's man's best bet in fighting off invaders from space. And here it has humanity is at a crossroads between life and annihilation. The threat comes not from space, but from a place absolutely inconceivable to anyone other than Peter Cannon Thunderbolt. So,
yeah, this series is definitely something I'm going to pick the trade up for, because I really like there was a series a few years back that's I can't remember who did it now, but I really kind of fell in love with that character and that series back then, and so when I saw that they were redoing it, especially written by Kieran Gillen, I'm like, oh, I really want to get this, but it was a victim of the budget again.
I've had many a books fall victim.
Sean, have you ever read The Boys?
Oh, I loved it.
Garth Ennis
and Derek Robertson.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I got. Did you get any of the trade paperbacks when they were signed by Garth Ennis?
No.
Yes, they had. You could buy it. This I don't know. It was 2-3 months ago or so. They were normal priced, but they were all autographed by Garth Ennis.
Wow, I had no idea. I should read the details of some of this stuff more often.
So.
Well, I only want to point this out because I know a lot of people like The Boys. I've read very little of it, but what I read, I enjoyed to a point. Ennis can sometimes push the envelope a little too far for my taste. I'm the same way.
there was a time where anything Garth Ennis had his name on, I was getting, but they got to a point where, like you said, that envelope was pushed a little bit too far.
Mm-hmm.
And even in The Boys, they're pushing it sometimes.
Yeah. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is because it says here, new series coming to Amazon Prime. And I'm thinking, wow, I realize it's Amazon Prime and, it's not, they don't have the same restrictions perhaps that network television does. But based on what I've heard and what I've also read of The Boys, I'm thinking they've got to water it down to some degree, right?
Absolutely. Same with because no, never mind. I was going to say the Happy, but that was written by Derek, or it was drawn by Derek Robertson.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't that written by Morrison?
Morrison, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're definitely going to have to water it down, but I think I like what they can do. I like that they are the ones watching over the superheroes. But
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely an intriguing concept. And that's it for Dynamite, right?
That's all I have.
Okay. And next is Boom. I only have one thing for Boom.
Okay. I don't believe I have anything for Boom.
All right. So there is, on page 194, there is the original graphic novel, Hotel Dare, written by Terry Blas, illustrated by Claudia Aguirre. I hope that's correct. It's a $10 softcover. What I like about, or what I think is interesting about this, it says here, Olive and her adopted siblings, Charlotte and Darwin, are spending the summer with their estranged grandma at her creepy hotel, and it's all work and no play. They're stuck inside doing boring chores until they stumble upon an incredible secret. Behind each door of the hotel lies a portal to a strange and mysterious place. And I thought, well, that's just a really cool idea. And so this is from Kabloom. This is their, I think Kabloom is their younger readers imprint. So, and the art suggests that indeed that's what they're going for, is for younger audiences. But I thought, wow, you could tell a lot of really interesting and different kinds of stories depending on which portal they go through. So it could be a fantasy story, or it could be a sci-fi story, or whatever. I don't know the details about this, but just that description makes me think, well, this could be a lot of different things, and this could be another series of graphic novels, for a wider audience. So this is going on the short list. We'll see if I can afford it in the end, but I think it might be a really good thing for, say, my 13-year-old granddaughter to read.
The art reminds me of Lumberjanes.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think I was thinking the same thing.
So, yeah. I unfortunately have all boys, so I don't think they would appreciate that as much.
Well, but you might.
That's true.
And so now I'm getting to the rest of the book, and I only have, like I said, maybe about 10, 12 things to point out. So this will be the lightning round edition, or portion of our previews episode, Sean. So
all right,
I'll let you go first. Where are we going to land next?
What I have is on page 232.
Okay.
In Aftershock. And it's Stronghold. And that one was written by Phil Hester and Ryan Kelly as the artist. And that one looks really interesting to me. The premise is, our planet is actually a prison designed to both trap and shelter an amnesiac alien entity of incalculable power, now known as Michael Gray. The cosmic angel of destruction currently believes himself to be an ordinary Midwestern insurance underwriter who belongs to the global secret society dedicated to making sure he never discovers the truth about his past. Yeah, that sounded pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, it does.
So
are you going to get that one, or is that just one of the books you're contemplating for ordering?
I think I'm going to get this one. There's been a lot from Aftershock that have been pretty good.
I have been getting. I think I've only gotten one for sure, maybe two. I'm trying to remember exactly all I've ordered from Aftershock on a monthly basis. But I've been picking up a bunch of trades here and there. And I've really enjoyed the output of this publisher quite a bit.
Yeah.
In fact, there on the next page, 234, there's Oberon, which is a new series by Ryan Parrott and Milos Slavkovich, I think. And the reason I point this out is because it's the character Oberon from Shakespeare. Was it Midsummer Night's Dream, I believe. So this is that character coming to our world, our time, and whatnot. So betrayed by his people and exiled to Earth, Lord Oberon, the former king of the fairies, seeks out an innocent prophesied child in order to manipulate her into becoming his ultimate weapon, so he can reclaim his rightful throne. Now, certain overtones aside, trying to take advantage of a young or a child, I should say, it could be an interesting story. I do like I think what they're showing here on page 235 is the Marco Rudy incentive cover, which just looks beautiful. With the two views of on the cover there with the white birds and I don't know what's going on with Lord Oberon there, but I know that cover just looks really cool.
Absolutely.
Before that, before we move further on, 224. This is from Terry Moore, the Strangers in Paradise 25, issue number 10. It's the final chapter, so the final issue of this 25th anniversary visit to the Strangers in Paradise world. Is this something that you've read before, Sean? Any Strangers in Paradise?
I read the first two trade paperbacks of it, but that one was one I just didn't get back to. That I definitely need to.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's Strangers in Paradise. Well, actually, anything by Terry Moore.
Yeah,
I will say, Strangers in Paradise. I have what is it? Six of the pocketbook volumes, and that's how I read the Strangers in Paradise. One of the best comic series of all time, I would say. And then he just recently finished up Motor Girl. There's an omnibus of that here also on page 224. He also is spotlighting his Rachel Rising omnibus, which was a phenomenal story. Great. And then what was Echo? Echo's the other one. That's not listed here, but that's another of his books that it was just really good. So anything else for Aftershock?
That's all I have.
All right. My next thing is on page 269. So if you have anything between where we're at and that.
Black Mask.
So this is a sneak peek of the new book, Nobody is in Control. And this is, I normally don't do something like this because I like to celebrate comics. But Sean, I was looking at this preview page and all I saw was word balloon, word balloon, word balloon, text, 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 all over this. And I thought, this is not how you... this is not an indicator of, perhaps, of a good comic book. Because it's all about the words on the page and not about the dichotomy between the art and the words. And so this is just I think a bad example of what this is what you should probably not do in a comic book.
Huh. It looks interesting. I'm reading some of these word balloons and
yeah. I'm not saying that, that the writing is bad or anything. I just the construction of it does not say to me, this is what you should be doing. But this book, Nobody is in Control, if you read the solicitation, but this is by Patrick Kindlon and Paul Tucker. Whoops. I guess I'm picking on the letter. It says hand lettered. Interesting that they would point that out. Hand lettered as opposed to just lettered. Anyway, it seems like an interesting story. It's just, I look at those pages and go, oh, that's a lot to go through. A lot of words to get through on a couple pages, but anyway. And then next for me is on page 278. This is from Cave Pictures Publishing. This is George MacDonald's The Light Princess, written by George MacDonald and Meredith Finch. And here's the reason why I wanted to point this out, Sean, is the art is by Renee DeLise and Ray Dillon, who they were the creators behind the recent-ish Legend of Wonder Woman miniseries. I don't know, did you pick that up?
I didn't, but I remember it.
Oh, boy. That was just a beautiful book. The art on that was just spectacular. I actually missed The Light Princess the first time through previews when I was making my notes for today. And I happened to, last night, in fact, when I was going through this again, just to make sure I didn't miss anything, I saw this it's the very first page of the previews book. And I noticed that I noticed the artist's name. I'm like, wait a minute, I know those two. They're really good. So I wanted to point that out. If you were a fan of their Legend of Wonder Woman, this is probably worth picking up in terms of just seeing their work again. Since DC made the huge mistake of not giving us a second volume of Legend of Wonder Woman by them.
Huh. It sounds interesting.
Yeah, well, I when I read the solicitation, the description there, I'm like, probably not for me, but I'm a fan of their work, of the artists. But it reminds me of what's that Disney story? Is it Cinderella, or which is the one where or Sleeping Beauty? That's probably the one I'm thinking of. In terms of a king and queen and their child who gets a spell cast on them because of a family member who is jealous. Anyway, the story seems very familiar. Just this is someone's take on it. I don't know if that's exactly what they're doing, but it's just too many similarities in my mind to suggest otherwise. But who knows? I won't because I'm not gonna read it. I just wanted to point it out.
Yeah. I think that is about all that I have.
Oh, really? Okay. I have just a few more things I'll point out. Unlike some of the other things where I pointed out the ends of issues or ends of stories, this is a new story arc. This is Shadow Roads. This is from Oni Press on page 326. This is by Colin Bunn and Brian Hurt. This is, I just finished issue number 5, and I wasn't sure what this book was, if it was going to be an ongoing series or what, because the end of issue 5, it seemed like, well, that was the end of the story. with some possibility to do something else if they wanted to. And I fully expected that we would return to this world. I just didn't expect it to be so soon, which is interesting because they have this other series that they're doing, whose name I now can't remember, about this guy who can't die, or he can die, but if someone touches him, they die in his stead. And that's been put on hold for a little while, apparently, because now they're doing Shadow Roads. Are you a fan of Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt's books that they've been doing?
I like Cullen Bunn, but I'm not really familiar with Brian Hurt.
So they did. What is the name of that series? It was hugely popular. Travis he turned me on to it. It turned out to be an excellent series. Boy, I am bad at remembering things, Sean. Hold on, I'm going to look this up real quick here. Oh, The Sixth Gun. That's what it is.
There it is. Yep.
Have you not? Is that here somewhere in Oni? I'm not looking.
Yeah,
at?
A couple pages ahead.
Yep, The Sixth Gun Deluxe Hardcover Volume 1. Have you read Sixth Gun?
I have not. That one and Letter 44 were two that I would want to pick up.
Yeah, both. I highly recommend both. Those are both great series. But yeah, so they did The Sixth Gun. The next thing that they did is something else that I'm forgetting the name of. The Damned. That's it, which I've been thoroughly enjoying. And then all of a sudden, this Shadow Road series starts coming out. And like I said, issue 5 just came out recently. And now they're starting. All of this is to preface the fact that they're starting a new story arc with issue number 6. And boy, this team of Bunn and Hurt, Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt, I just think they're awesome together. And anything that they do, I will definitely be trying out.
I may have to take a look at them.
And then on page 337, this is from Robots and Monkeys, which is a great name for a publisher. I only want to point this out, Sean, because the name of the book is called Eric.
Nice.
This is by Tom Manning. Says here, Eric, a popular musician in the 60s and 70s, boy, I wish, is now a burned-out relic. Oh, wait, this is starting to sound too familiar. Following a meltdown on live TV while promoting his greatest hits album, Eric is plunged into a conspiracy spanning multiple realities, a dark, surreal journey to the underbelly of Americana and the nature of reality itself. I kind of want to get this just because of the name, and the story sounds interesting too. I mean, how often do you have a comic book named after you?
Absolutely.
Right? And usually, the comic book characters that I've encountered over the years, Sean, that are named Eric, they usually turn out to be kind of not the best people in the story. So... Sounds like that trend's continuing.
I was going to say, a burnt-out musician.
Oh, well. And then, page 354. This is from Tomorrow's. This is the latest issue of Back Issue, number 111. And I went on a binge a few years ago, Sean, where I bought every Back Issue magazine that was coming out. And then I quickly realized I got to stop doing that and be a little more selective about the ones I order, because I have this huge number of issues that I haven't read yet. They're just sitting there waiting for me to read it, along with everything else that I have in my house to read. But I will pick up the occasional issue, and issue 111 might be one of those, because this is the alternate realities issue
of Earth X.
Yeah, they got stuff from Marvel, Earth X from Marvel. What If, Bronze Age DC Imaginary Stories, Elseworlds, Marvel 2099. You know, just all sorts of good alternate reality stuff, and that's one of my favoritist concepts in comics is, the what if, the Elseworld stuff. So anytime that I get to read more about those things, or read stories that are set in those alternate dimensions, alternate reality situations, I just love it. Give me those, and I'll be happy. I'll be like a pig in mud, or whatever that phrase is.
To be honest, I'm not as familiar with back issue comics as I should.
Oh, you should go to the Two Morrows, TWO Morrows, MORROWS, for those keeping track. Go to the Two Morrows site and just take a look at what they have to offer. You can, last time I looked anyway, you could order, or you can pre-order them here in previews, but you can also, if they still have them in stock, you can order them directly from the publisher, and you can also just order the electronic version for a cheaper price. I think it's about, I want to say about half, but don't quote me on that. But you can get the digital version of the magazine for a lot less, and I've done that a few times as well. In fact, I probably should do that for this one. I need to have less paper in my life, Sean, than I do. So.
Oh, I'm staring all around me, and
yeah,
I know the feeling.
Yeah. Anyway, so check that out. And then finally, I just want to point out in Valiant, there's a new series called The Forgotten Queen. This is by Tini Howard and Amilcar Pina. And so it's a new series. It says, long ago, the mighty generals of the Mongol Empire rode from Siberia to Carpathia and conquered all who stood in their way. Legends tell of a witch who walked with them, who could infect the hearts of any warriors in her midst with an unquenchable thirst for battle and bloodshed. A warmonger. And now she's walking again. I mostly wanted to point this out because I think that cover by Kano is pretty cool, but it's a new #1 series in the Valiant universe, and it makes me wonder if this is part of the Valiant universe, because all of the Valiant books are tied together in some way, and at least as far as I understand it. And so it doesn't really say that it is here, but I also am not 100% on all of the Valiant goings on. So yeah. But if it isn't, that's really interesting. But if it is, I wonder how it is tied to that. Have you read a lot of Valiant's output?
Not any of the newer Valiant, but some of the older Valiant when it was still, what was the name of the Quantum and Woody? Mm-hmm. Stuff like that. But before they started to redo everything, that was about the last time I had read some of the Valiant. But they've got some great names on. I remember, I think Cullen Bunn was one of the writers on some of the books. Mm-hmm. No, Robert Venditti's, I see this Eternal Warrior. I may have to pick that up. With Incursion #1.
I think with Venditti, his work on,
written by Andy Diggle, this Incursion, and Alex Pinknadel. That looks interesting. I may have to look into this.
Yeah, they get a lot of really good creators working on their books. I read a bunch of them. Like I was about to say, Venditti, that's his work on one of the Valiant books that I can't remember now. Oh, it might be Exo Man of War. I think that was my first encounter with him as a comic book writer. And then he moved on to do some other things more recently with DC, and everything he's done, I think, has been really good. And that's it. That's all I have for previews for December.
Yep.
Anything else, Sean?
I think I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me, Sean. I really appreciate it. It's been too long. Hopefully I can get you back on a lot sooner than a year and a half from now.
Absolutely. I really appreciate it.
So,
yeah, I appreciate you setting out the time for me.
Oh, no. My pleasure. So before we go, if you want to point out to the listeners, if they want to follow you somewhere on Twitter, I know you're on Twitter or anywhere else, why don't you let them know where they can find you? And,
sure thing.
And talk previews with you if they like.
Yeah, sure. If you want to reach out to me, I'm on Twitter on Rising Star 50, and that's RY Zing Star 50. And you can talk comics or whatever you want. So I appreciate it. Thanks again.
Sure. And if anyone would like to, let me know what you thought of this episode or anything, our recommendations that we've given. Give some feedback about things that you've read that you ordered from this previews. Please do so. You can do that by emailing me at longboxreview@gmail.com. You can leave messages at the blog at longboxreview.com. And as always, I'm on Twitter at longboxreview. So there you go. Really easy to remember. I'll have a link to Sean's Twitter as well in the show notes. And I guess that's it. This is the last previews for 2018. I will do this again starting next month, as always. And I will talk to everyone later. Bye-bye.
Bye.